In addition, the crust of our planet is not as solid as it appears. The entire makeup of our continents resides upon loose-fitting rock and material, capable of great flexibility and geographical change. The illusion of solid, stable ground exists much in part due to centripetal force that is created by the planet's daily rotation. We can calculate that the Earth, rotating at its fastest point, is traveling at an estimated 1,035 miles per hour. However, from the perspective in space, we are not moving much faster than a standstill. In actuality, the Earth is fragile. So fragile, in fact, that the slow spinning of the planet creates enough force to warp the entire globe like a ball of gelatin.
Even though the rotation of the Earth is slow enough to not overpower gravity, the centripetal force is still pushing everyone, everything on the crust of the world up and out. If the rotation of the planet were to decrease, the centripetal force would lessen, reducing the outward force of our world and reducing the bowing of our planet on the equator. This, in effect, would easily and instantly shift all the oceans, coastal lines, and continents of our planet. In fact, because the material that makes up the ground upon which the crust is so fragile, it's possible that entire regions would sink below the surface of the ocean. If a geographical pole shift was the event that occurs in cycles, the geographical poles and the equator of the planet would change depending on the new planet's spin, creating new areas for the globe to bow out.
Consider this. The majority of all people on Earth live along the world's estimated 275,000 miles of coastline. In the United States alone, it is estimated that 50 to 60% of the country's population is located along the eastern and western coasts. In Japan, estimates as high as 80% are reported. The trend of high coastal populations is similar in most countries, and many of mankind's greatest cities, including Los Angeles, New York, London, and Tokyo, also fall within this demographic.
If the ocean shifted, resulting from a change in the globe's centripetal force and axis of rotation, coastlines from all around the world would suddenly change, consuming and destroying any coastal populations and cities that might reside within the changing areas. In late 2004, most of us will recall an event of a 100-foot wave about the height of a 10-story office building that caused horrific destructive damage in Indonesia and the surrounding countries. This event, which provided little to no warning, wiped out entire areas of coast and suburbia. With estimates of at least 220,000 deceased, this devastation, in retrospect, was just a very small ripple in the ocean.
Some geologists now believe that at least 3 separate geographical pole shifts have occurred throughout the last 10,000 years. However, if the effects of a cataclysmic event, such as those described in ancient records, are indeed contributing to the shifting of Earth, then another question arises, another missing piece to the puzzle. If the gaps in ancient technology and knowledge were a testament to ancient achievement, then remnants of such a vast civilization would exist. Remnants that would exceed far beyond the ruins we've already discovered.
But remnants are there. It's been hiding right under our noses. off the coasts of Cuba, India, Australia, Japan, nearly every continent, we're finding massive cities built by previous civilizations, which we have no record of whatsoever. Some of these cities are up to 2,000 feet under the ocean surface and mostly intact, as if they just sank into the ocean. Not the city themselves, but the entire landmass that the city was on just slowly sank into the ocean. Only now, in the last 20 years, in the later half of the 20th century and the first half of the 21st century, have we developed the technology to even discover these cities. And more are being discovered every year.
Ancient underwater cities are not the only clues hiding in plain sight. As more pieces to the puzzle are revisited, they now seem to fall right into place. Many researchers agree that the outside walls of the Great Sphinx itself has undergone periods of severe water damage, not entirely caused by wind as previously thought. And even now, in the 21st century, new pyramids are being discovered around the entire globe, including one recently uncovered in Bosnia. Overlooking the town of Visok, the recently discovered pyramid was believed by the local population to simply be a mountain. Since a geographical pole shift would most likely result in a permanent change in the axis of the Earth, the effects would also have immediate implications on global climate, causing new weather patterns and regional temperature changes. Places that were once desert might now be plush, or areas that were once abundant with vegetation and life may become a frozen wasteland, areas like Antarctica.
Recently, scientists have discovered huge petrified forests underneath the ice in Antarctica. These trees have grown as high as 80 feet and have leaves, which is indicative of warm climate trees. This, without a doubt, shows us that this region was once very warm and swarming with life. Compounding evidence tells us that these pole shifts occurred quickly, very quickly, but we are just now beginning to understand how quickly an unexpected and massive geological changes can actually occur.
On September 26, 2005, geologist Derece Ayulu and his colleagues from Addis Ababa University were conducting research on the desert plain in central Ethiopia when an unexpected earthquake hit the area. In a matter of seconds, the small geological research team had just witnessed history in the making. For the first time in modern history, human beings were able to witness and record the first stages in the birth of a new ocean, an ocean that quickly will split Africa apart. In recent months, hundreds of new crevices have formed to help split the desert floor, and the ground is now slumped by as much as 328 feet. The ground continues to sink, which will begin accumulating water from the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden.
Previously, geologists believed that the time it takes for natural region modifications, including petrification of forests and the birth of new oceans and rivers, required vast periods of time, even millennium. However, with recent events taking place and newly uncovered discrepancies in radiometric and carbon dating techniques, these assumptions are quickly dwindling.